This is another episode of So Fair Times. Found a website, and unfortunately Ireland is not included, nor is Wales. So if you're from those countries, or from the islands up north of Scotland, please feel free to comment in the comment section if you're familiar with any quote migrant hotels. I refer to them as barracks, and I have for over the past 5 years, because I've been aware of what's occurring for the past 5 years. Began talking about this online, and I was not met with many people that agreed. Most people were thinking the way folks who refer to as lefties. I don't believe in left or right. Same bird, same coin. Same masters for everybody. So I've been trying to warn folks, and only now that it's impossible to hide it, or this probably the same people that were commenting and replying to me online, the I hate brown people, blah blah blah, the typical programmed responses. Well, here's a website. I don't know how this person's getting the information. I'll go down on it with you. And we need to know where these people are located. Just as if we were in their country, they would have a right to know where we're at. Not to spy on us or anything, but to make sure that we're not there permanently. We're not there to rob them of their resources that go first and foremost to their own people. Much less just to be let nature stay as nature. So here's this map. It's howfarfrommydoorstep.co.uk, called Is There a Migrant Hotel Near You? Now there's another link. I'm going to scroll down here to show it to you. Here we go. It says Update. A brand new live map of every crime committed by illegal entrants is free to view here. migrantcrime.org. I'll do a second video on that. So here it is. And let's just scroll in. Oh, it looks like, oh man. Hopefully you folks are free of this invasion, because it is an invasion. Again, Wales. Do not know why it's, when it says this is a for United Kingdom, it's just not there. I know you folks are also unfortunately being invaded. I'm going to be doing videos on every single hotel. This is quite a few. And don't think that there's none of them in national parks. Now, here in the United States, we're also dealing with the same issue. The southern border was breached. They are now being given what is called a beachhead in military slang. And that's what these hotels are. They're actual barracks. Formerly hotels. And with military strategy, it needs to be hard for you to find housing for your infantry and food for them, etc. Now it's being paid for by all of us, no matter if you're in the United Kingdom, continental Europe, here in the States, or even in Japan. Because here in the States, our national parks are also being utilized to have them, to house them. So if you're living in any of these places, please feel free to go to these hotels. Do not do anything that's, immoral, number one. Because for me, morality comes before the law. Because law is man-made, and it is there to somewhat keep peace and civility, mostly to keep us under thumb. And to keep those in power, right there, in power. Morality comes first, right from wrong. Obviously, depending on your beliefs, and that doesn't just have to be religious. that also makes up your mentality of what is right, what is wrong. Because that could change from person to person. What is respectful for one person in culture is disrespectful to others. Hence the whole entire flag issue. They want to eliminate cultures. They want to make it to where we're only one type of people. So it's treating us like we're children. So if we can't have our flag up, but yet if you put the Pakistani flag up, if you put the Palestine flag up, if you even put the numerous flag of the LGBTQ, those are fine, right? They don't get taken down. You don't get fined for that. You don't have the police come knocking on your door. But you do if you put the Union Jack or the St. George's flag up. So they want us to be banging heads to each other. Why is it okay for them and not me? Well, it's not being childish. That's how they treat us, because they want exactly that type of reaction. They want these protests and these marches. That way they can then have, well, we created the problem. Our solution is then, okay, you don't let them in the hotels, we're going to spread them amongst you. Spread them out into houses. So now they could be your next door neighbor. Heck, man, it looks like you got a 3-bedroom house there. Your kids are growing up, they don't need those rooms. And even before this was a thing, I was trying to warn people that your own rooms in your own house that you are paying for, whether it's a mortgage, it's paid off, or you're renting, is still your home. Obviously one less than the other if you're a renter, but it's still your home. Now let's see if we could put a migrant family in there. Well, you only have one kitchen. In most houses in the UK, especially the older ones, you only have one bathroom. I'm not talking about the ones that have been renovated to have more. The one that I grew up in had one downstairs in the backyard, in the garden area. And in between it and the kitchen was the hallway, about maybe 3 feet of a hallway to the door to the garden. And then it was, I don't remember having a stackable washer and dryer there, but I think my family said there was. And then you had the kitchen. So we're going to come into conflicts about whose time is it for the kitchen? Whose time is it to use the clothesline, the dryer, or the washer, the kitchen, the bathroom facilities, the garden, the living room? Because they're not going to want to stay in the one room or the 2 rooms. They're going to want to spread. They want to have control of the house. Then who do you think the police are going to back up when there comes clashes? Not you. Them. As has already been seen over and over again. They want strife. They want conflict. We do not need to give it to them. Keep a cool head. Stay in control of your emotions. I am just as pissed off and ticked off as anybody about the destruction of all of our cultures. Because it's not just European cultures, as I mentioned, it's also here in the United States. It's also occurring in Japan. I need to do more research on that. Because it's not fair to the Japanese that we bombed them, and we just had recently, I do not celebrate whatsoever, the method of ending the Second World War by dropping nukes on innocent civilians that could not defend against such. And they've been occupied by us, the United States, ever since. Limited on what type of military they can have because of how they bombed Pearl Harbor and then other countries in the Asian Pacific region. And so they've been limited. Now, they too are having to endure the same things as Europe, Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand. And if you're not in any of these countries and you're also enduring the same, please feel free to to state so in the comment section. Let's begin this dialogue civilly, respectfully. So here is this. And I already put in a town in there and it didn't work. So maybe it's just my phone is malfunctioning, whatnot. But it was the last updated on the 21st, yesterday. And it says, note, the info provided should not be used for criminal purposes and it did not condone or encourage any criminal activity towards the hotel occupants or workers. This info is provided for lawful reporting and community awareness purposes only. I agree. Do not attack the men, because it's mostly men. Young men. Single men. Again, you might say, oh yeah, where do you discuss this? What do you know about this? Well, how long have you been aware? I stated half a decade for me. And most people ignored me. At times I feel like giving up on trying to warn folks. This is basically my last attempt. So yeah, I'm going to create those videos on the hotels. Read the reviews. This time I'll add the prices to them. Of what you and I, if we were to stay there, would be charged. And yeah, I'm not going to read everything that I make a video of. Like, here, is it getting better? You hopefully can read it. 200,000 Afghans being housed here at public expense. Public expense. Why should we be paying for their housing? Why should we be paying anything for them? Now, if it's just a short term, and then they can go back home. We were to seek asylum in a country. I would think it should just be short term. Respect their laws, respect their custom. Maybe I could fly my flag in the privacy of whatever place. I should be lucky and grateful to be given. But outside of it, no. I wouldn't want the local people to have to adapt to me. And that hopefully the conflict back home would cease and I would be free to go home. What we are having to endure in the West and in Japan is that they're staying. It's permanency. It is demographic change. Deliberate demographic change in order to bring about one type of human. Get rid of all the type of religions, get rid of all the languages and all the aspects of being human. And now the videos will go into this later on. So this is just a website for you yourself to go to. Again, it is howfarfrommydoorstep.co.uk. And hopefully with your phone, tablet, computer, you could put inside here, enter your postcode or town name below and press search. Already did that. Didn't work. So maybe this is faulty, but it shouldn't be because it was just updated yesterday. And then you can also click on this update here for the mountprime.org. We have every right to know this, because the people directly responsible for this would want to know if there's a threat to them. We all have the right to know if there's a threat to us, whether it's someone that's native or not. And if they're native, well, I don't think the police have a problem if we deal with it on our own, as we should. We should not be restricted with self-defense or defense of our loved ones, a family member, or even a stranger. Because we all know that if you have someone in power or someone with wealth, and they are enduring the same things as we're having to deal with, someone coming into your home because the door is unlocked, the door is open, you want a breeze come in, and somebody walks in uninvited, not only is that trespass, but it's a danger when you are female. Whether or not this individual is a male, whether or not this male began to we have the right to, first and foremost, politely ask to leave. This is not, you're not welcome here, please leave. We shouldn't have to rely upon the threat of all and call the cops. We should be able to have the right. It's our home. If I don't want you in my home, get out. Already gone through all the niceties, the politeness, and you're still here, and no one's chasing you, no one's threatening you, and you can just wander in, and you can just also run it back out. Get off my property. But we're not allowed to do that. Some places in the United States here, yes, you can. Other places, you are taught to be a victim. You're not allowed to defend yourself. You were told that you need to go out the back door. I believe that's in New Jersey, on the eastern seaboard of the United States. What happens if you're in a high-rise apartment and you don't have a back door? You're also told to let them come in because all they want to do is steal a few things and they'll leave. If you try to defend your property and yourself and your loved ones, that is when conflict ensues and you could die. Of course, if the person ends up dying that is a threat to you, guess who goes to jail? You. But if the same thing was to happen to somebody that has a castle, a palace, or is a celebrity, or anybody else, a politician, that individual doesn't go to jail. The police will go to them immediately if they don't even have their own private security. Oh, there you go. Most of those private security have something called guns. Because only at gunpoint, even just one gun, people will probably think twice about harming you. Of course, it's not going to get any better. Small boat arrivals last 7 days. And then I'm going to say this too. If you have any information about a hotel being used to accommodate asylum claimants, or for me as I refer to them as invaders, because even if there are women and children, they're still invading our country. They don't have any notion of leaving. They believe that they should have everything handed to them. That while we are struggling to eat, struggling to make sure we don't freeze to death, struggling to not, in some parts of this country of the United States, whether under the heat, which could suffocate you, and die of heat stroke, that they should have everything just handed to them. They don't have to prove anything. They can make up a name. They don't have to have a birth certificate. And they can just wonder about living life while we are all struggling. And then they can have children, after children, after children. Well, our population is dwindling because it's impossible for us to pay everything for one child, for one baby. They don't have to pay for anything. So if police feel free in the comments, if you know of any hotel that's near you, please, what's this name of the hotel? How many people do you think are there? How many people have you seen come and go? Is it protected by rent a fence? Or are the bobbies there? What is your experience with this invasion? Comment, subscribe, and please. I know it's not easy to be happy during this time. Smile, be happy. Do not give in to the anger, because that is exactly what they're hoping that we'll do.